We're back for Real Railroads, episode 22. Once again, filmed January 25th. This week is a fairly well-known railroad, the South Central Florida Express. In fact, it is so well-known, covered in magazines and talked about, I think it's highly unlikely that even Heath doesn't know this agricultural railroad. However, since I did every other railroad in the area, I might as well cover this as well. The SCXF is a Class 3 common carrier that is owned by U.S. Sugar, existing to bring sugar cane to the U.S. Sugar Complex in Clewiston, Florida. This traffic lasts from October to March, and after that the railroad isn't very active. During the harvest, they often operate a train between their cane yard in Bryant and the plant in Clewiston every 4 hours. U.S. Sugar also has their own private railroad, U.S. Sugar Railroad, aka USSC, which is 100% private and, unlike the SCXF, is not governed by FRA regulations. The sugar fields are located around Lake Okeechobee, and the USSC SCXF use special gondolas similar to garbage gondolas or woodchip gondolas to carry the sugar cane. From the plant in Clewiston, sugar crystals and molasses head out into interchanges with CSX in Sebring, Florida, and Florida East Coast in Fort Pierce and Jacksonville, Florida. This plant also receives chemicals used in the refining process. Starting from Sebring, Florida, the SCXF connects with CSX at their Auburndale subdivision not far from the Amtrak station. However, the CSX enters SCXF tracks crossing Sebring Parkway and then paralleling it, heading due south before heading southeast towards the interchange yard. There is a siding among citrus groves and an industry. This is American and says the HC Companies under the name. It is just a building with a product yard and a single spur with a track for switching out inbound and outbound cars. No idea what they do. Not far down the tracks is DeSoto City Yard, which has only 3 tracks and used for interchange between the SCXF and CSX. This is where CSX stops and the South Central Florida Express operates the rest of the way south. The SCXF passes Yana Concrete a ways down the main, which is not rail served. They then pass a few other industries that aren't rail served before turning south. A few miles south, the railroad winds around some small lakes near Lake Placid. South of here, they have an industrial lead that serves Howard Fertilizer and Anderson's Plant Nutrient. There is a warehouse in this lead that has a spur that goes inside and an outside switching spur, but this building appears abandoned. A few miles to the south is an abandoned agricultural business that the building is rusting. The spur is overgrown and rusted, and the grounds are overgrown. Just a few hundred feet south is Costa del Rey, which is a huge plant nursery complex with 14 huge buildings and some large ponds. That is not rail served. In Palmdale, there is a small siding, and south of it there is a bridge over Fish Eating Creek. Don't think I'd want to swim in Fish Eating Creek. Yeesh. And not far away is a single spur that appears to be a loading location for sugarcane. From here, the main curves to head mostly east to a loading siding among cane fields, and then there is a building that appears to receive fertilizer. It has covered hoppers spotted at it. Continuing east and southeast, the main passes another siding used to load sugarcane just west of Moorhaven. The main continues southeast from there, and then a long winding industrial branch that curves through the cane fields to reach Wedgeworth Incorporated, a fertilizer supplier which has 2 tracks for unloading covered hoppers. The main keeps running south, southeast, and east, passing 7 more cane loading sidings before reaching Clewiston. Here is a South Central Florida Express engine house and maintenance facility, along with a siding. To the east is a Y with a spur in the middle for maintenance away equipment. North of the Y is an unknown industry that receives tank cars. The main turns south from the Y and actually passes the Clewiston Sugar Factory, which has a Y of its own. The cane trains in the fields in this part are generally shorter than trains in the other half of the 171-mile system. The Clewiston Sugar Factory is west of the main and Y along Clewiston Yard, which has 11 tracks used for the storage of cane loads and empties. There is another engine facility just west of the yard, and it appears they work on the cane gondolas here as well. There are 2 cane unloading sheds in the complex. 10 or more tracks are used for the loading and switching of tank cars and covered hoppers, and north of the sugar refinery is 3 tracks for storage of covered hoppers and tank cars, along with 3 tracks for maintenance away equipment. South of U.S. Sugar, there is a line to the fields that splits to reach more cane loading locations, several less than a half mile from the refinery. This line also serves another U.S. Sugar Corporation complex, which seems to deal with tank cars exclusively southeast of the main complex. The main heading southeast from U.S. Sugar's main refinery passes Bauer Foundations, which has the ability to be rail served, but it looks like the tracks haven't seen movement in 10 years. Here the tracks again split, with one heading due east and the main line continues southeast. The track heading east serves just one loading siding. The main has a Y, and there are many spurs that reach into the fields to load cane cars. Too many to really follow, so I will mention the other industries. South of Lake Okeechobee is Lake Harbor. Just west of this village is Calcium Silicate Corporation, which is rail served. The railroad passes through South Bay and Belglade. In Belglade, there is a spur that serves Glades Formulating Corporation with tank cars. There is another complex of industries here that is not served anymore. North of Belglade, the railroad serves Sugarcane Growers Cooperative of Florida. Near Pahokee is their Bryant Yard, which is where shorter cane trains are combined into longer trains, referred to as a Bryant Turn, which operates as a shuttle moving loads to Clewiston and empties back to the yard. This is a train that runs every 4 hours during the harvest. Bryant Yard is located off the main to the east near Bryant. The Bryant Turn has to back from the 7-track yard westward onto the main and then head south. Next to Bryant Yard is a location which receives tank cars. Southwest of Fort Pierce is Tropicana Products, and SCXF serves more industries going into Fort Pierce. These are O'Donnell Concrete, which receives aggregates just a few hundred feet beyond Tropicana, another aggregates and loading spur that uses an excavator on top of the cars to unload gondolas of stone into trucks, the same spur used to serve Southern Eagle Distributing Incorporated, but the rails are clearly not used to Southern Eagle. And across the main is Titan America, another place that deals with aggregates, but also bagged and bulk cement. Next is Master Construction Products, which also likely is aggregates, and across the main from them is Helena Chemical, which receives covered hoppers and tank cars. The railroad crosses the St. Lucie River and 5 Mile Creek before the multi-lane South 25th Street, and eventually another spur which looks like it served a lumberyard that is closed. They also serve Silver Line Plastics, and on the industrial lead that provides access to Silver Line are spurs at Chambers Truss, AmeriGas, Manning Building Materials, RAKA. I don't know how you want to pronounce that. I don't care. And Goodman Distribution Incorporated, which are not used. The South Central Florida Express then curves north into Florida East Coast Fort Pierce Yard interchange. They then have trackage rights from Fort Pierce to Jacksonville. The South Central Florida Express in 2021 also started a yearly steam excursion to celebrate the end of harvest. Their mode of power today is 12 EMD 4-axle road switchers, but they have had many locomotives in the past, all using the U.S. Sugar Corporation reporting mark USSC. These include the SCXF units, which are gray and yellow, and the USSC ones, which are blue and a kind of reddish pink. These are a 1907 built Alco 462 number 65 that came from Florida East Coast in 1931, last photographed in 1955, and 1920 built Alco 462 number 148 that came from FEC in 1952 and is their current excursion power. In 1987, they were using a fleet of switchers, 4 SW900s, 154 to 156 and 159. 154 and 156 were built for U.S. Sugar in 1955 to 1956. 154 and 156 were painted gray and orange, and 155 was gray and yellow. SW7 number 158 came from the Union Railroad, painted in baby blue and white. Only SW900 number 159 has been photographed more recently. Formerly PIC number 103, it was last photographed in 2011 and was in the gray and yellow. In 1987, they operated a yard slug, but that there is no information on. It looks like it was rebuilt from an Alco road switcher and an EMD switcher. Unfortunately, my research on this got cut short because Railroad Pictures Archives decided it was using for researching their current power and past power. I don't know what's going on with Railroad Pictures Archives, but every time you turn around, the site's down, or you're using it. Like last night, I was using it to expand my list of locomotives I could have on the big layout, and all of a sudden was service unavailable. Everything I clicked on, service unavailable. I don't know if it's back up again or not. I forgot about doing this thing, and yeah. They also, at one point, they had two SW1500s, numbers 201 and 202. 201 arrived sometime between 2009 and 2013. It was built as Southern Pacific number 2649 in 1972. Number 202, I don't have any information on. That was when Rare Pictures Archives conked out on me. The SCXF has been operating since 1994. This would be an interesting operation to model, and you can. In my research, I discovered that CMR Products has decals for the locomotives, including striping. Of course, the CMR Products is not sponsored. It's not my sponsor. I do not have a sponsor, but I can't remember if it's Vinny or Heath that is sponsored or was sponsored by CMR Products. I remember seeing somebody who's sponsored by CMR Products. So last information I had, they had decals. If you want to model something like this, that's a perfect thing. That's a perfect thing to have. I mean, the striping, the decals, yeah, that's great. So that ends this week. Unfortunately, it's kind of a rough ending because I was trying to write it and got interrupted because my research was not able to be done and I didn't tie it all together. I just kept going. So I will be ending this video and recording another one, and see you then, maybe, if I have enough space on my phone. I don't know.